even the even. Spend holy days away from the heathen. I need a break, I don't need a reason. I need a script, I don't need your grievance. Keep it to yourself, it's better for my health. Leave it on the shelf, ain't hearing nothing else. Tonight ain't the night, knowing the price. Pay it off with my life, till it's out with your lights. Do it all for the Christ, and he ain't playing nice. Knew the end from the start. Fix your face like it's art. The sons of a simp, call him Bart. Yeah, you did your best, played your part. But now it's time to cut you to the heart. Flex on occasion, it's the strangeness of the salvation. You see it, believe it, amazing. Them terrorists coming invasion since the creation. War, mine, Lord, bless the general. Greatest nation, Edom, unequivocal. Bombs dropping, buddy, cause it's biblical. Start shit, now it's time to finish. Whoa. Said he won't vote, he looking for smoke. So, we give him some more. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world. Ain't the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. Ain't the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. Ain't the beginning of ours. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world.
I can't wait for our kingdom to start and for there to be finished. Get rid of all of their idols and lying religions. Look for the crown like an Edris. Hey, this that crown talk. Wisdom of Solomon 5 talk. This that second Edris 6 and 9. We want eyes talk. It's your time to end and my time begin. It's our time to win. Away with the sin. You know what it is. Rejoice with my kin. See that is why we repented. Go to the streets, I can see myself in it. The city is bright, the kingdom of light. A wonderful sight past the angels, the inner light. I need 1,000 years of labor. Sit on my throne with my savior. Try to know wine, press alone. He bring pain like major. You think the nations is equal to us? TK Kirkland, who raised you? Flex on occasion, my God a racist. That's why we moving with patience. It's been a long time coming. I spent my whole life running. Now that I'm 10 toes down and established my faith on 100. Woe to the nations, my king will race them. You know they gotta be punished. Jeremiah 25. Yeah, you know they gon' fry. Whoa. Said he won't vote, he looking for smoke. So, we give him some more. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world. Ain't the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. Ain't the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. Ain't the beginning of ours. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world.
Yes. All right.
Yo.
Yes. It's like that old song. It's been a long time. Hey, shalom, family. Shalom. Most High in Christ. Bless y'all all. We're back, the Nehemiah Squad. We've been off for a few weeks, brothers. You know what I mean? A bunch of stuff was happening. So, you know, we had the high holy days, certain Mondays and things like that. So we were off for about 3-4 weeks. It was kind of crazy. But we here. We're going to reintroduce ourselves. I'm Captain Zaccai.
Hey, yo. It's Officer Shim.
Officer Judah.
Yes, sir. All right. So, hey, listen. Throw that thumbnail up, man. We're going to have a beautiful show tonight. Throw that thumbnail up. Yes. So tonight's show is called Black Lives Trapped in White Geopolitics, right? And it seems like all geopolitics is white, right? You know, the way they got things going on. But our guest tonight is Theo Wilson. Before we bring him on, let me just give a little background. All right. So Theo's the host of the History Channel's hit series, I Was There. He's been featured on Good Morning America, the Kim Iverson Show. I saw that episode, actually. That was excellent. BuzzFeed, CNN, Good Day Canada, and TV One. Yep, that's the show right there. All right. And we'll let him talk about it a little bit, right? Also, Theo is our founding member of Denver Slam Nuba team, which is winners of the National Poetry Slam. They do poetry. He's a poet. I did hear one of his poems. He began his speaking career in NAACP at the age of 15 and has always had a passion for social justice. All right. Went to school at Florida A&M University for all y'all. FAMU. All right. Over there on the East Coast. And he obtained his BA in theater performance. All right, so Theo was an actor. Hey, let's bring out Theo. We're gonna talk about this. Hey, Theo, how you doing, brother?
Family, it's good to be here and share some time with you brothers, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely, man. Good to see you, man.
Sure.
Hey, there's so much going on in the world right now. We can get started probably at any spot. But let's get into what I wanted to talk about a little bit first. Well, you know what? You talk about yourself a little bit. Let us know how you got into, because I saw you on TED Talks. You know, I saw you on various things. How did all of that come about?
Brother, I grew up in a household with a geopolitical awareness. When your grandfather is a Tuskegee Airman,
Okay.
as mine was. Yeah, my grandpa was Theo Wilson of the 99th Pursuit Squadron.
Oh, wow.
And
we actually did a show on that, man. We did a show on that a couple of months ago. Yeah, we had the son of one of the Tuskegee Airmen. It was a great show, actually. We probably your grandfather's name might have been referenced in the list that we showed, but we probably just ain't known. But go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
No, brother. It's all good. Listen, when you grow up in a Black historical family like that, history is a matter of dinner table discussions.
Right.
History as it unfolds. So this is second nature to me, brother. When I went to Florida A&M University, the theater was just something that I was good at. I was more into Black psychology. So I ended up studying a lot in other departments. And I happened to go to college during the beginning of the War on Terror, when you had George W. Bush, 9/11, and the bombing of Iraq beginning at that time period. So since that, I was immersed in it. And that's something that I think that it is a huge illusion to think that Black folks globally are not truly at the center of the way that the new geopolitics is unfolding.
Right.
And I suppose I have been given a gift to articulate it in a way that was accurate to the facts and relatable to the community. So, you know, all jokes aside, this is our time for real. And I can break it down in a secular way to show you how these cards are actually falling in our favor. And we need to be ready.
Right. And I like that you said it in a secular way, right? Because on our show, we make sure we relate everything to the scriptures, right? Because we priest, we serious in our studies. So we see things unfolding that's in the Bible, right? Now, when I say that, not that it's specifically saying, okay, you know, Burkina Faso, right? It's not going to say it like that, right? But you're going to have reference to certain events, right? But just getting into that, I want to talk to you a little bit about Burkina Faso, right?
Brother.
The leader, Traoré, right? What he's doing there, and let's get into that a little bit. What are your thoughts on that? Between him, Russia, what's going on with France? All right, because I know he had to put France out of there. So let's talk a little bit, because we want to get on France a little bit, because they some evil people over there.
France has been, without question, the single most vicious occupier in Africa and of the African world, going 100%. Back to Haiti, going back to the foundation of Cote d'Ivoire and all of the things that they did to extract. And when the rest of the European world began to move into a neo-colonial model, increasing the debt burden via the IMF's toxic loans.
That's right.
France kept a boot heel on Africa in a special kind of evil way.
Right.
And, you know, there's been rumors and there's been documentation to say that their intelligence agencies coordinated with our deep state to coordinate roughly the assassinations of 20 to 22 African leaders. And so what you have in Ibrahim Traoré is the inheritance of the kind of social model of governance from Thomas Sankara, with a little bit of saber-tooth, shall I say, militarism.
Saber-tooth militarism, okay.
He's and I say that because the lessons of the past are truly built around the leverage of force and who can maintain their own lives. He took the lessons of Thomas Sankara and he said, I'm going to increase our military capability, but I will not use my military capability to harm the people. And I feel that he struck a key balance with that. And that is the model moving forward that a lot of the African world is taking on. I'm going to just go real quick to a personal anecdote about Burkina Faso.
Okay.
About 2 months ago, today actually, about 2 months ago, I was on the border of Burkina Faso because I was filming a new project in Ghana, who, by the way, has a large Black Hebrew population in the the Cape Coast, by the way.
Right.
But in the northern part of Ghana, we have the Sahel region. Ghana borders Burkina Faso. We started seeing license plates from Burkina Faso. And every time you mention Ibrahim Traore to the brothers and sisters in Ghana, there's a huge spirit of resistance and power that his energy has brought out of the people. And it is basically Garvey's Africa for the Africans, including what's in their soil. The awakening is palpable. I've seen it on the continent. It's not a game. And even countries that ain't speaking English are about this anti-colonial life, and it's catching on.
Right. And this, hey, brothers, put up number 7. I want to just show this map. And I know, Theo, you know, we're just meeting, but being that I heard you speak, I know you understand and know about the scramble for Africa that happened those back in what in
1884, brother. That was the Berlin Conference. Yes,
right,
sir.
up through 1914 and all of that, right? So
yes, sir.
Now just looking at this map, you'll see all of the areas that France actually took over. And like you said, they were the worst. They were the worst of the worst. They were the worst. And
that's saying something.
No, for real.
Because they was all bad. But
Yeah.
France was something special.
Right. Right. Absolutely. I just want to show this quick short. Hey, show number 8 real quick. And we're going to get right back to it.
Yeah, bro.
This is about France's wickedness when they were dealing with those nations in Africa as opposed to the others. Right. Which is like you said, all of them were wicked. But France was a special thing. I mean, even when you look back and before y'all play this real quick, even in France, when they had the human zoos, they had us in those zoos. You know what I mean?
Right,
and people came and watched us in cages and all of that. That was them doing that, you know?
Yeah, brother. It was a specific kind of scientific racism that fueled this colonial expansion. If you look at the Berlin Conference in 1884 now,
right,
this is a conference called at the behest of Leopold of Belgium.
Yeah, there you go.
Led by people talk about the Third Reich, but there was a Second Reich of Germany. Kaiser Wilhelm.
Right. There you go.
Kaiser Wilhelm, at the behest of Leopold, carve up Africa like a steak, bro. That's right. I'm talking about they literally sit there and draw up borders based on the resource wealth within the continent, irrespective of the tribal boundaries and sovereignty of the kings and nations that were already empirically powerful within Africa. And the only thing that gave them a true advantage is not only the musket, but the creation of the repeating Gatling gun. Because even with rifles, for example, the Zulus was hard body enough that a rifle wasn't a guarantee against no Zulu.
Right.
But when they created the repeating gun from Gatling, that's what gave them the military advantage necessary to enforce their will the way that they did. They faced the most staunch resistance from any indigenous people anywhere.
Right.
It came from African people. They had the disease game flipped on them by the nature in Africa itself. They had no answer to malaria until they invented quinine. So all of these factors came together to create the plunder of Africa post-slavery now. This is 1884.
Right.
This is the post-slavery plundering of Africa.
Right.
And man, when France got his foothill in there, you know, France was a dying empire. Haiti made sure of that. Right. Haiti dang near bankrupted France.
That's right.
So France's impetus to do the kind of vicious imperialism they did was partially sparked by Haiti bankrupting them in the rebellion. So with that being said, that footprint is still today. It still reverberates. And now you got a brother like Ibrahim who is joining forces with the BRICS coalition. And we talk about that because you don't know about BRICS?
Yeah, we got to talk about BRICS. We have to.
We got to talk about BRICS, brother, because there's going to be a giant geopolitical realignment. And Black Americans are going to have an interesting choice on the table. And I got to be able to break that down. I've talked a long time. So go ahead and...
All right, we're going to show this video real quick. Yeah, of course, of course. Show the video real quick, and we're going to get back to Theo. The video, brother, the videos. Come on. There you go. Volume, please, volume.
You see, after the Second World War,
hey, listen, start that over.
Colonial movements.
Start that over and get that volume up, please.
Yeah.
France continues to have an empire in Africa. You see, after the Second World War, there was a wave of decolonial movements in both Africa and Asia, but France desperately wanted to keep its colonies and responded with force in Algeria, Madagascar, and Indochina. By 1960s, France granted independence to almost all of its colonies. But there was a catch. In exchange of its independence and foreign aid from France, an African country was made to sign a cooperation agreement with France through which they gave France rights over natural resources.
Wait, pause right there. So the French, right, they now forced the African nations, because they saying there was a cooperation. That's not no cooperation. They forced them to give up their natural resources, meaning what? They coming in, they're getting the gold, they're getting oil, they're getting diamonds, whatever they want.
Right.
And other things. And then actually sell it back to them and sell it to other people. But
not only that, but not only that, to compound what you're saying, brother, there was the use of toxic debt instruments.
Yes.
Around this time, the predecessors and then eventually the manifestation of the International Monetary Fund,
absolutely,
and the World Bank began to enforce a policy that, if you look at their currency, was called the franc.
Right.
But it was essentially a puppet currency that France controlled.
Right.
And they were part of the union, and they literally just broke out of this year under Ibrahim, called ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States.
Yes.
And the ECOWAS currencies were valued and printed and set against world other currencies by the former colonial powers. So when Ibrahim gets the muscle behind him from Russia, which we'll talk about, he was able to exert the force necessary to kick them out of ECOWAS and begin the Sahel Alliance trading partnership that they got with Mali, Niger, and I believe now Chad is coming on board.
Is that right?
So this, like 2024, 25, and let me actually be honest with you. One of the first ones to actually kick up some dust was actually Niger. And let me tell you when this happened. This was the same weekend of the Alabama Brawl. Now, we all remember the Alabama Brawl when the photo came out.
Yeah, of course.
And brother, had to regulate and all that, right? It was literally around that same weekend, around that same week, that Chad began to kick up dust with their own military coup. Their own military coup, kicking out the puppet government that had been in charge of keeping them suppressed at the behest of France. So this has all been evolving literally within the last 3 years, brothers. And I did a video on that when it happened. What was going on was that there was a giant pipeline being built up to France. Emmanuel Macron was really invested about $10 billion in that. And that pipeline had to go through Niger, but it could only go if they had that old president that was down with the colonizer.
Right.
When that revolution kicked out, they ended up losing that pipeline, which really, really hurt their feelings because they had lost a lot of oil because of the Ukraine-Russia conflict. There was the Nord Stream pipeline.
That's right.
That was that Nord Stream pipeline. So they was relying on that pipeline. They was relying on it coming through Niger. And when Niger kicked them out, it put them in a bad way.
Yep.
It put them in a bad way. So then, I believe Ibrahim was already in power at that point, but it was a whole cascade of things that happened literally since 2022. And you got to keep this in mind. What also happened in 2022? That was when the Ukraine-Russia conflict broke out on full scale.
Right.
And that is actually central to the power shift with BRICS. And whenever you're ready, we can break down exactly what's going on, how Russia-Ukraine is dictating what happens with the BRICS alliance versus the NATO alliance.
That's right. Okay, we're gonna get right back to that. And I think in the end of that video was talking about the same thing you just discussed with the money, about the franc, how it was backed by nothing. Hey, can y'all play the rest of that video?
Yep.
Territory, and also
sound, brother, sound.
Please, the volume. Come on, guys.
By 1960s,
bring it back a little bit, and then make sure that volume is up. Bring it back a little bit. All right, hit play. Come on.
By 1960s, France granted independence
to all of its colonies. There's no volume.
But there was a catch. In exchange of its independence and foreign aid from France,
we can't hear it.
An African country was made to sign a cooperation agreement with France, through which they gave France rights over natural resources, allow them to maintain troops on their territory, and also keep the CFA currency. France made this look like a choice, but when Guinea rejected this, France gave an example and cut all the aid to Guinea, and did everything they could to destabilize their government. And they succeeded, because Guinea never recovered. The countries that use CFA franc have no monetary sovereignty, as the value of their currency is linked to the euro, giving this way a new face to imperialism, which used to be spread by tanks. But now, it is spread by banks.
Right.
France continues to have an empire in Africa.
Right, that's it, y'all. That's it. Hey, bring up number 4, because Theo would mention something and we don't want to just run past it. It was called ECOWAS. All right. Let's bring that up for the people to understand what ECOWAS is, because some of these terminology and stuff our people are not aware of, you know.
Right.
When it comes to geopolitical discussion, our people, we only go by what's on the news. You know what I mean?
Right.
So whatever we hear, that's it. But it's deeper than that, obviously, right? Hey, guys, read that real quick.
All right, this is ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, also known as CEDEAO in French or Portuguese, is a regional, political, and economic union of 12 countries of West Africa. Collectively, the present and former members comprise an area of 5,114,162 kilometers, which is 1.974,579 square miles, and have an estimated population of over 424.34 million.
That's it. We're good there. I just wanted to make sure that people understood what ECOWAS was. All right. So, but let's get into BRICS a little bit, Theo. Talk to us about BRICS.
Bro. Let me just say this before I go on. If you notice, I'm gonna leap from France to BRICS.
Right.
France don't really have a history outside of the 19th century, man. Outside of the 18th century.
Right.
In the 20th century, all they really did historically was get captured by Hitler and then get liberated by the Allies. They ain't really been up to nothing except for oppressing Africa. Right. That's it. They haven't had any real renovation. They have been living more parasitic than almost any nation in Europe.
100%. They have nothing.
Now here's the thing. Macron got beef with Vladimir Putin. They just don't like each other. They got they got a long history of being at odds. And what's going on is that there's two worldviews, man. There's, the Western worldview, and then there's the worldview from the East. And we're very familiar with the worldview from the West. I don't have to reiterate that. But from the East, from their perspective, NATO keeps breaking their word. Right. From their perspective, George Herbert Walker Bush said, we're not going to move NATO 1 inch to the east after the Cold War ended. Well, then when George Walker Bush gets into office, he opens up the door for all of these new countries that are either bordering or a part of the former Soviet Union to then join NATO. Now, Vladimir Putin is like, now, wait a second. How can I trust y'all? When I mentioned the war on terror earlier, I don't know if you recall this, gentlemen, but in 2003, when Operation Shock and Awe happened, it was the largest worldwide protest in world history up to that point. Mm-hmm. George W. Bush shattered a potentially peaceful world order, potentially peaceful at that point.
Right.
9/11 had given permission.
That's right.
To willy-nilly destroy Arab nations via the deep state.
Right.
Via our intelligence agencies driving our military industrial complex. Now, Vladimir Putin is sitting back and looking at that like, now, y'all just invited me at the end of the Cold War to be a part of the possible G7. Maybe I'm going to make it G8. And you're talking about this being a globally peaceful alliance. I don't see peace here. This is how they're seeing it, right? Mm-hmm. And then Barack Obama ends up getting involved in the conflict with Syria and whatnot. And Vladimir's like, listen, man, I need y'all out of this space. This is what y'all promised. Now y'all recruiting folks that's on my border. Well, now, if I got beef with y'all and they're members of NATO, you got a mutual defense compact, y'all can put nuclear weapons right on my border.
That was the point.
Now, look, y'all didn't like it when the Soviets put missiles in Cuba.
That's right.
So how you figure that I'm going to sit back and take it when, if I'm Vladimir Putin, I still have the largest nuclear arsenal on the planet, by the way.
That's right.
I'm not going to let y'all just sit here and put this in the equivalent of like Mexico City and the equivalent of, you'll say, Alberta, Canada. No. And so from their perspective, NATO kept messing around. And in February 2022, Vladimir, in his perspective, delivered the find out. Now, here's what's interesting.
He delivered the find out?
That is from their perspective.
That's
now,
right.
Here's the thing. BRICS has been consolidating, specifically, those y'all don't know, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, a new Eastern global bloc to counterbalance the West. In this operation, let's go say like this was a mafia situation, right?
Right.
China the money man,
right?
Russia the muscle. China the money man, Russia the muscle.
Mm-hmm.
The agreement is, I know that you got the West messing with you. If you come join me, we gonna fund you and we gonna protect you. Well, can you protect me if we fight a proxy war on somebody else's territory?
Right.
That's what Ukraine is. It quickly evolved into the United States, and of course, this is part of what got Biden out of office. You send in all these hundreds of billions of dollars to this conflict while Americans suffer and starve. And the whole thing they were trying to do is actually prove that they could beat BRICS in a fight. And at first it was working. In the early parts of the war, Ukraine was getting at them. In the latter parts of the war, Russia has been flexing.
Right.
And now they get to back up the talk of the protection operation. Vladimir gets to say to any developing country, you want to join us? Well, I just proved on the battlefield of Ukraine, I'm going to back you up. And Ibrahim took him up on that offer.
Right.
Now, BRICS has already been spread into Nigeria. It's already been spread into other African countries. There's folks waiting to sign up with BRICS. But specifically, back when he was still alive, the dude who was in charge of the Wagner group ended up putting boots on the ground in Burkina Faso and other places in Africa.
Real quick, Theo, let me jump in there just in case people didn't know what you're talking about. So the Wagner group is a independent military operation coming out of Russia, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just for people to know, that's what the Wagner group is. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's basically, I believe we have Blackstone or BlackRock, one of them. We have similar operations that are basically mercenary contractors.
That's right.
But essentially, it was Wagner Group that started tipping the battle in the favor of Russia. So Wagner and them was like, look, man, if you want to kick out France, you need Western equipment, high caliber weapons, pressure bombs. You need bunker busters. You need satellite guided, missiles. You need drones. You need the whole thing. And you're going to need training. Ibrahim says, I'll take you up on that. And since Vladimir already got a problem with Macron, he can't wait to help the Africans kick him out.
Well, let me say this to you before you move on. I'm sorry. Let me just jump in real quick, because this is interesting, because you have Putin, right? Who they supposedly, they always say that Putin and Trump are friends, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
And now South Africa, which is part of BRICS, is now dealing with the United States, right? Trying to put together something. So now this is weird. The United States is dealing with BRICS now. Like you see the madness of it all. You don't even know. This is like smoke and mirrors. You don't even know what's going on.
Right. So here's what's interesting. When I was on the continent, they literally said Donald Trump is the first BRICS president of the United States. That's what they said on.
Right.
Meaning, had Kamala Harris got in, and I don't know if you saw the article. So when Kamala Harris had the whole backing of the deep state, she had the whole backing of her. Everybody who was in the intelligence community wanted Kamala Harris to win because she would have continued the funding,
right,
in order to bolster Ukraine's military capabilities.
Absolutely.
With the rumors of, at the very least, Trump being beholden to Putin. We ain't gonna talk about why, if that's true or not. We're gonna say, with that being the case, and it seems that Trump rarely ever, except for recently, which was really interesting, seemed to ever go against the will of what Putin desired. It was seemingly a no-brainer that Trump was going to make moves that would not only bolster Russia, but weaken NATO.
Right.
And so I don't know who been getting in Trump's ear, but it seems like he's turning course on that, which is what you're referring to, because there's money in the waters like crazy. But what I can say is that they who are in Ukraine are in a more dire situation than they would have been had Kamala Harris been the president. With that being said, they needed that Russian equipment. And here's what it's looking like. And it's hard to sift through this sometimes because China be doing one thing on one hand and doing some of the other. Sometimes China look like it's neo-colonial. And sometimes China look like an ally.
Yeah, but you know what it is? You know what it is? They're taking a different approach to colonialism. Right. So instead of them coming in hard, they're coming in soft, right? It's sort of like back in the days, or like a street thing. You it's called a soft press. Yeah. It's not a full press, a soft press. Like, hey, bro, you think you could help me out with something? And depending on who the person is, you know what that means. That means give it up, right? Right.
So Ibrahim has done a certain thing with the energy in Africa, because let's say China was here for the neo-colonial tip. What Ibrahim has done essentially is make all Africans wary of any colonial effort from anybody ever.
Right.
They don't want colonialism from China. They don't want colonialism from the West. They don't want it from France. They don't want it from England. They don't want it from nobody, right? The sentiment of Africa for the Africans is absolutely palpable on the continent. And so what's going on now is that Ibrahim might be shifting, even if China had colonial ambitions, which it does look like they're doing in the Congo. We can get that later.
Right.
What it's looking like is they're assessing the value of Africa as a trading partner more than a slave class, which is a whole different ball game. And what's doing that is that Africa is now starting to manufacture weapons of their own.
Right.
A lot of times, if you buy some weapons from the West, or even if you get them from Russia or China, they're not adapted to the African climate. There's sandstorms, there's extreme heat that wears on the maintenance. If you have a situation where the satellites aren't floating ahead, that can decrease the weapons capability. So Africa's launching satellites now. Nigeria got its own indigenously developed drone program. Well, now you got force on your side. And they finally done what the Asians did to the Europeans. When you get a piece of technology, break it down, reverse engineer it.
Right.
That's the main thing that needed. That's part of why Asia got powerful. If you give the Asians a Harley Davidson motorcycle, give them 6 months and they will deliver you a Yamaha.
Right.
If you give the Asians a Ford truck, give them 6 months and they'll deliver you a Toyota.
Well, here's the thing, Theo, and I know you know this, but with our people, it's different. They don't allow us because, when you think about, just think about, we talking about technology, right? The internet itself, the speed and everything of it was developed by a Nigerian brother.
That's correct.
He's the one that came up with the speed of the internet. They had the Department of Defense had computers talking to each other, but they had no speed. He's the one that came in and did this and that. It was our people that created, that understood chip manufacturing and all this. This was us. So they know they can't leave us alone on the continent, because if they're to do that, that's why when you have Black Panther, right? It's just a Marvel Universe stuff. But in reality, if they left us alone, it would be almost that. And I'm joking. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it won't be superheroes, but the intelligence, the IQ is there.
What you're saying has a lot of truth, brother.
Right.
And here's something that I realized the first time I went to the continent. I've been to the continent twice. First time I went to the continent was 2014, went to South Africa.
Right.
There is a technical acumen that is higher in the global education system than it is in America.
100%.
They dumbed us down to the point where we have to understand, if you are American, you are not as educated as the average person in the rest of the world. Look at the test scores. I ain't got to, you know what I'm saying?
Look what it is.
Test scores.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So I found out when I went to Africa the first time, these brothers and sisters are globally proficient. And I must raise my acumen to be on par with them if I'm going to communicate with them and have any sort of influence whatsoever. So the technical acumen is there. The highest scoring students in America are African immigrants. They're outscoring Indians, they're outscoring Koreans, they're outscoring white folks, they're outscoring everybody.
Right.
The raw intelligence is there. What's happening now is that the technical capability is catching up in the form of owning and operating things. In Nigeria, they just released not only their indigenously developed drone program, they finally did it. Brothers, if you give brothers now in Africa a piece of technology, they will reverse engineer it in maybe a year or so.
You know, they have the electric car now. They have their own version.
I was just about to go there.
They have that as well.
They got the electric car. Nigeria introduced their Nord line, N-O-R-D. So if you look up N-O-R-D, you will find the Nord Nigerian electric car.
Right.
So this is what's happening. Now you got indigenous developed high-tech weapons that are outperforming on the continent the weapons that they can import from anybody.
Right.
Being retrofitted in all kinds of ways.
That's right.
That means that now you got a different chip to negotiate with, because Africa really found out the hard way that the most valuable metal in the world isn't gold. It's one atom on the periodic table over. It's lead. If you got lead, you can take the gold. Africa had the gold, but Europe had the lead. Well, now Africa's developing its lead capacity too. This changes the bargaining chips on the table. Now we're looking at you with a little bit more respect. Like when you find out somebody could scrap, it's like, all right, cool. Now, you know what I'm saying? Now I know you can throw hands.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now let's talk about, maybe we could talk about some equal partnership. Now there's a little bit of threat of mutually assured destruction, right? Ibrahim is presenting the possibility of a mutually assured destruction technological capability that is causing folks to renegotiate. Africa's like, why are we trying to do a slave class anyway? Africa's got the youngest population on the planet, the highest birth rate on the planet, which means that when you talk about demographic projections, the highest potential longevity on the planet. If you want to develop a middle class, you're going to have young bodies to be working. And what Russia has a problem with, and they don't want to talk about it, but it's a big problem, what China has a problem with, what Japan has a problem with, Korea has a problem with, is an aging, collapsing population that has less than replacement birth rate. Right. Africa ain't got that problem.
Right.
At all.
Right. Never.
Ooh, they ain't got that problem.
And they spend a lot of time trying to destroy us out there, right?
Brother.
Yeah, they spend a lot of time doing that. I'm gonna read you something real quick, right?
Yeah. Go ahead, brother.
In the book of Revelation, right? In chapter 6, I want to say, I think it's 8. Wait, hold on. Hold on. I think it's 6. Hold on. I want the white horse. Yeah, that's 6, right? I'm gonna read you something because, you know, the French, the Americans, whoever they are, these white people, right? We know what it is, right? Their job is to try to maintain their status, their majority, right? Their power, to maintain their power and to make sure nobody else can have it, right? That they're going to go down with the ship. They're going to blow up the earth trying to keep that together, right? Everywhere they go, right? That's what it's about for them. They're about killing. They're about death. They're about murder, right? They kill like crazy. That's what they're about. Right.
I wish history could disagree, but history is history, brother.
Right. And I want to read something to you. Go ahead. I want Revelation 6 and 8. Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 6 and verse 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death.
Right. And the name that he had on him was Death. Right. Go ahead.
And hell followed with him.
Right.
And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth.
Right. Power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth. If y'all brothers can find that, to bring up the fourth part. Now, the fourth part of the earth is actually talking about America or Babylon, right? Meaning where white people have their power. We're going to bring that up in a second so you could actually see that. That's in their own books. They literally put that in their own books, not knowing that that's in the scriptures. Because they're already programmed to do certain things. That's how come we could look in the Bible and say, well, the white man in the Bible is called Edom.
Yeah.
Our people are called Israel, right? We know that we're the Jews. A lot of our people think that we're in it for a religious, like we're a religion. We're not in it for a religion. We're in it because that's us, literally bloodline, right? That's what we are, right? We are the Jews. We are the Moors. I know you heard of the Moors out of Spain and back in Europe. We've been controlling Europe from what, the 1100s, or the later
It
the way
was-
forward.
It was from 711 to 1492, brother. Yes, sir.
There you go. Right. So even when you look at, and I'm gonna continue reading, but even when you look at the new movie that came out, Gladiator 2.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Now,
With Denzel.
right,
Yep.
Denzel, right, his character, and those two emperors. Remember those two white guys, right? The two, they look crazy as hell, but they're supposed to be black. Though that's Septimius Severus's sons.
Right. Septimus Severus was an African. Right.
Exactly. That's who Denzel's character really is supposed to be. And Russell
Right.
Crowe.
That's what I thought it was going to be. I thought it
Yeah,
was gonna be Septimus.
exactly.
Yeah.
And Russell Crowe, actually, he's supposed to be Septimus Severus. Yes, that's actually the character, but they changed it up and flipped it. So they kind of split the character between Denzel and Russell Crowe. People might not know that because he was the first emperor. He took over. He was a gladiator and all that, took over and became the first emperor of Rome. Right, his two sons, which is those two nuts, they took over. Now our people weren't good. We weren't good people back then when we were ruling Rome. But the point is, why wouldn't they just tell the truth, right? But anyway, I digress. I just wanted to throw that out there to show you that our people, we've been in this mix since the beginning of time. We didn't just pop up through slavery. They caught us in the west coast of Africa, swinging through the trees, and now we're here. No,
we are the oldest bloodline on the planet by at least 6 times our nearest competitor. By at least 6 times. We're, and this is undisputable now, right? Nor did we ask to have that honor. Black folks was just people doing things that people do, inventing, exploring, creating, and building. We didn't ask for this comparison game against Europeans. They put that on us, and then the facts begin to speak for themselves, right?
Right.
I think that when you talk about scripturally speaking, us being the Hebrews, what is undeniable is that we are a people largely who have abided by peace and justice throughout our kingdoms by their own reckoning. I did a video about this a while back, and the Greeks used to refer to Africans as the blameless Ethiopians, saying that we were the tallest and handsomest and most long-lived of all men. And they by the Greeks' reckoning, man,
Right.
this is strong. Look, they said that Ethiopia, which was any land in Africa.
I was getting ready to say that. Let the people
Right,
know
right.
that when you say Ethiopia, that means like the land
All
of the
of
burnt
Africa.
faces. The land of the burnt faces, meaning all black
Land
people,
of the
basically.
burnt faces,
Right.
Ethiops, the burnt face.
Right.
They said time and time again, our kingdoms were justly governed. When, for example, Lourenço Pinto of Portugal went over to the great city of Benin, he said not only was the streets wide, everything smelled good, everything was clean. They didn't have locks on the doors because there were no doors. The concepts of murder and theft were unheard of. We have been written about by Arab scholars when they went to see us in Timbuktu.
Right.
So what that says is that we are just people. The Arabs said no race of man abhors injustice like the Negro. This is what they saying about us, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we have been notoriously well governed, notoriously harmonious. And so this is godlike behavior, brothers, by their own reckoning of us. So I think that what's happening now is that, and let me just put a little bit here how I understand the situation. The only advantage the Europeans truly had was brute force and raw deception. It wasn't even necessary.
Theo, I'm sorry. That was beautiful right there, because I just want to make sure we stop you there. You could please continue on, but you said brute force and deception.
Yep.
Now, we're gonna get right back to that, but go ahead.
Brothers, because it wasn't even that brute force until the musket was invented. Because when it came to the Moors, when it came to a one-on-one with Africans, they knew that was an L.
Right.
Our strength has been known since the time of the gladiators.
That's right.
So,
right.
So,
and that's recorded in the Bible,
history,
actually.
Right. When you know history, you already know who we are. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's the Memnon. You feel me? So what I'm here to say is that the brute force, the weaponry, the weapons technology when it came to the musket was really the only advantage, and the deception was it. And because we could not perceive a darkness in another's soul that was not in our own, we couldn't perceive that trading in certain ways would lead to certain desperately bad outcomes. But we're learning. One of the things I asked is, what is the Most High trying to teach us through this hard lesson?
Mm-hmm.
What are we to be at the end of this gauntlet? Because the sooner we get there, the faster we're free. I believe that our brother Ibrahim embodies that. And I broke it down. I said we got to be Malcolm X to the other, Martin Luther King to the brother. Malcolm X to the other, Martin Luther King to the brother. With my brothers who have differences of opinions, with my brothers who have, and my sisters who come from different faith traditions, I'm patient, tolerant, and long-suffering, bro. When it comes to those outside of my community who seek to destroy my brothers, then, like Samuel L. Jackson said, I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger. You see what I'm saying? The smoke.
Well, yeah, that's some funny stuff right there. But that's real talk, right? I want to finish this up, and then I want to get back to what you said, because what you said was real poignant. Revelation 6 and 8, real quick.
Revelation chapter 6, verse 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death. And hell followed with him.
Right, and hell followed with him, right? Meaning what? That slavery, death, all of that was coming with him. You got to remember where this man went. When we just talked about Africa, and I'm going to continue. You have HIV AIDS. That was started in his laboratory, right? You have the what we'll call a jab, because last time I mentioned something, they took the show down, right? And, they took the show straight down, right? And
right.
that. And every time they come up with something, they go and try it in Africa first. Oh, we're gonna do it over here. We're gonna help the people and give them you know what I want. You know what I want to say, right? To help them against certain diseases. But that is the thing in that thing, right? I'm trying not to say anything because I want to make sure the show stays up, because you're an excellent guest. We don't want this thing going down.
I appreciate that, brother.
Right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So finish reading that.
And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth. To kill with the sword.
Right. This right here, it says, an astonishing epic of global discovery, imperial ambition, and the birth of America, the fourth part of the world. Right? So showing you that these people, they know who they are. They put it in their own books. They can't even help it because the Lord already programmed them to give it up, because we're going to see the signs in the Bible and then corroborate the story of what's happening in real life, right? So it says, it was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword. The power was given unto them. From who? From Satan. Who got it from where? From God. Now, this is a hard pill to swallow, but people don't understand that God gave the power of the killing of the sword to the white man. It's written in the book of Genesis. All right. When we were born, and that's something we might not even have heard this in church, but our people, we're from Jacob. Right. Let me finish this first, and then we'll jump to that. Right. Finish that up.
To kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death,
and come on,
and with the beasts of the earth,
and with the beasts of the earth. What does that mean? That don't mean they just sicking dogs on you and killing you with some tiger bites and all that. What that's talking about is what? Zoonosis. Remember, when they created some of these things that we were just talking about, right? The jab and so on, they took it from what? Animal, taking pieces from the animal. What is it called again? I'm forgetting the term. What is it called? I think it's RNA. I believe it's RNA. Yes, but there's a term that they were using. Zoonosis, yes, a disease which can be transmitted to humans from animals. I'm talking about the actual process. Somebody find that for me. I forget the term right now, right? But this is how they were using it, and this is what the Bible is talking about, that they have the power to kill with beasts. Not they're doing science on those animals, and once we get the terminology, it just slips me right now. Once they pull it up, I'll bring it to you. You're going to say, okay, you're going to know right away. Basically, what they do in the lab. What they did in the lab, and I don't want to say anymore, because you know how I go.
Yeah. Look, brother. I mean, Babylon is a consciousness that you and so many other brothers and sisters who are trying to awaken our people are trying to extract us from a consciousness of being essentially more addicted to the things of this world than that which is higher. Babylon, is the thing that is mammon. It is the worldly power, right? And it is what historically those who have practiced white supremacy have mastered. They've mastered the art of illusion. They've mastered the art of creating death.
Yes.
And so what is happening now is I feel that the Babylon consciousness, regardless of the color of the body that occupies it, is reaping its comeuppance. The time is nigh, brothers.
Right.
That is what is most important, because, the being that you call the Edomite has implanted its consciousness in many of the beings that you call the Israelite.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the faster we get free of that consciousness, then that is the thing that actually takes us back to our truest essence. That upright, morally, what would they say? The African is strikingly upright. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I feel like we have to do both. We are very powerful in the realm of spirit, but I think that this cauldron, this gauntlet that we are being forged in, is reminding us that the inventors of science, mathematics, and technology also can be the masters of matter. It is up to us to master this technology, to understand warfare, to understand the tactics that are used in deception without ourselves becoming deceptive and warlike. That's where the spiritual balance comes in. We must understand the tools that are being used against us and gain a mastery of them without those tools mastering us. You see what I'm saying?
Well,
and that to me is, the faster we get to that, the faster we become who we are supposed to be. And not a second sooner. And so that's what I'm interested in when it comes to our evolution as a people. If we did all of these, we built all these monuments, and we did it thousands of years before anybody else did. Mm-hmm. So it is within us to master this technology, to understand warfare, and understand how to use it justly to protect the innocent, and do it effectively so that we can create a beautiful thing here on this earth.
And you say that, and everything you said makes sense, right? But we're dealing with a man that, like it was said a long time ago, has no conscience, right?
And that right.
We're dealing with an individual that cannot be talked to, right? And meaning that if we were to come up, let's say Africa was to somehow get themselves together, they got nuclear weapons now and all of that, and now we can all talk kumbaya, and they will never allow it. They will blow this world to bits before that happens. And we're gonna show you that. But what you got, bro?
I want to go to Psalms 55 and 20. I want to read something right quick, because even if it was some type of peace treaty or agreement, like Cap said, they not gonna stand on that. They're not gonna stand on any of that. And the Lord said it first. Read that in Psalms 55.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 55 and verse 20.
Come on.
He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him.
He said he put his hands forth to such that be at peace with him. Everybody that have been at peace with this man, he double crossed. Come on.
That's right.
He hath broken his covenant.
He breaks every covenant. Every covenant that he ever made with anybody, he's broken it. Come on.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
And he make you feel all good, and he butter you up. Read.
But war was in his heart.
But what was on his mind?
But war was in his heart.
On the second half of his mind, he's always thinking on how to overcome you, how to overtake you. No matter what covenant that he done made with somebody, every single last one of them, he broke. Come on.
His words were softer than oil.
It was softer than oil. Come on.
Yet were there drawn swords.
Say, yet behind his back is a sword there. He's always looking to get the upper hand. He ain't gonna never stand by a covenant that he make. He's a deaf adder. He's a snake that can't hear nothing. And if you try to charm that snake, he will bite you.
I'm glad you said that. Go ahead.
He will bite you. He will.
Right.
Give me one more.
And before you read the next one, the terminology I was looking for was called gain of function.
Yeah.
Gain of function. Yeah.
Gain of function. That's what I was trying to.
Throwing out the gain of function. Yep.
Right. And with that, that's how they're able to build those weapons, right? Those weapons to take our people out. But even though they did all of that, like you said, still a flourishing continent, our people are still producing and producing because that's what we were made for. When you look in the book of Exodus, it tells you that we are a lively people, right? Here it goes right there. Read that real quick before we give it back.
This is gain of function. Research is a type of scientific investigation where an organism's function is altered.
Right.
Often through genetic modification
Right.
to enhance or introduce a new ability.
Right. You see that? To introduce a new ability. That's it right there. That's the weaponization. Go ahead.
This can involve increasing a pathogen's transmissibility
There you go.
or virulence,
Uh-huh.
expanding its host range,
Yes.
or even bestowing it with entirely novel capabilities.
Oh, you can't make it up. Genetic manipulation. But go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead, Theo. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead, Theo.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned the serpent.
Right.
I was just at the zoo the other day with my daughters and my wife. And sometimes you can't pet a snake. You got to cage it. Some creatures cannot be tamed.
That's
You're
the point.
right. 380 broken treaties with the Native Americans would back up what you're saying. You don't stand
right.
by the covenant,
Nope,
right?
never.
380 broke congressionally ratified treaties with the Native Americans. Broke it, all of them.
Every single one of them.
We'll back up. We'll back up what you're saying. And so, what I'm talking about here is a different kind of relationship. One based upon leverage and mutually assured destruction rather than being nice and keeping to your agreements. This is what I'm talking about. When I just did a speech about this. 160 years ago, the Chinese was working the railroad with us, getting black lung with us, stepped on with us. They communities getting burned down, Black Wall Street style. The Chinese Exclusion Act created a type of Jim Crow against the Chinese that we were experiencing as black folks right there with us. What changed? The state of China itself is what changed. What happened was China, under Mao Zedong, who was a ruthless dude, let's be honest, but they stopped the brain drain and began to secularize and militarize China in a way that was out of the control of Western powers once they threw off their own colonization, ended the Opium Wars, all of that. And regardless of what they wanted to be friends or who they wanted to be friends with or not, the power of the Chinese state creates leverage to protect the Chinese individual, and thus their lot in life is different. Doesn't matter who's treaties or not.
I like what you're saying.
You know,
Okay.
he may not be able to treat. Does this make sense?
It makes sense.
He may not be able to keep his word, but if he mess around, he won't be able to keep his blood in his body either.
Right.
This is leverage. This is a different kind of understanding. This is a different kind. So mutually assured destruction is a kind of power that Africans used to have, lost, and are regaining again.
Well, Theo,
Mutually assured.
let me jump in on you real quick. I'm sorry. I don't keep your thought. I apologize for that. But you just said something that made a lot of sense, right? That China itself, because of their strength, it automatically gives strength to the Chinese that are here.
Individuals, yes,
Right?
sir.
But because we don't have our people together as one, that's why we don't have that. We don't have that protection, right? Because back, we're split. We have what's known as what? Now it's foundational Black Americans.
Black Americans,
West
and
Indians.
diaspora, and Africans and Brazilians and
Right.
Jamaicans and all of this. You see, group power leads to collective power. And I'll do a perfect example of this. Back in the late 1800s, probably early 1900s, they tried to lynch Italians down in Louisiana.
Yep.
They tried to lynch Italians. No, they didn't try. They did.
They did a
They
few
hung
of
them
them.
Italians up right up by the neck. Well, this caused a diplomatic incident with the country of Italy.
Right.
And the country of Italy said to the American government, if you do this one more time, you have a diplomatic incident with us. There will be no trade. We will cut off this product and that product and the third product. And by the way, run reparations to the families of those Italians whom you lynched. And America did it.
Theo,
power.
real quick, Theo. Why did they lynch those Italians?
Well, now we're gonna talk about that Moorish blood if
Yeah,
you want
right.
to.
We ain't gonna go too far. I just want to throw that in there because I don't want to throw you off. But the reason they lynched them because they was probably coming from Sicily, right? They was from the mainland of Italy. They know what was going on down there, and they knew the bloodline was. I'm not saying all the Sicilians, but some of them they probably was coming over looking a little dark because I seen some pictures of them people back then, and they was like, "You a nigga? We putting you to death. That's it."
Right. You are not white the way we are. We cannot have you assimilating.
That's
you
the
know
point. That's the point.
Right.
But go back. I just want to
So,
jump in there real quick. Go ahead.
regardless of bigotry, regardless of the history of discrimination, regardless of the history of lack of power, once mutually assured destruction is complete, then you have leverage, right? So this is not let's have nice agreements and make sure that they're friendly with us and eat your vegetables and don't smoke crack. No.
Right.
This is about power, leverage, and the ability to back it up. This is what we're creating here. And so this is the thing that we've been prevented from developing so often that it felt like we could not develop it. But I'm here to tell you, oh, yes, we can. We are on the verge of doing it now. It was all about the two things we didn't have: understanding of technology, understanding of deception, diplomatic deception to be precise. It says in your scriptures somewhere, and I know you brothers know the book very well, be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove, right? Wise as a serpent means you got to know the tricks. Harmless as a dove means you are morally, spiritually developed enough to know that you still must play by the rules of justice, but you are not naive enough to fall for the serpent. This is what I'm talking about, with a little bit of muscle to back it up if necessary. Well, that's the power.
Well,
that's
yes,
what we are developing into.
No, and let me say this to you. Controlling all of this is America, right? Whether it's France, whatever white country it is America, right? Just like NATO is really the UN and all of that. That's all America, right? Israel, America, right? So, right, when you look at it like that, right? They cannot allow us. It's like a hope thing. I'm gonna just take it back a little bit. America is the branch from Rome. Right?
Absolutely.
We brought up Rome before. Now, when those black emperors took over, right? They ruled for it was like 8 or so emperors. I can't remember the amount of time that they were ruling. But right after that, Rome crashed, right? Rome crashed, and then our people continued on controlling Germany and Britain and all these different places, Ireland and all that. Russia too, right? Russia too. What we're seeing now is the same thing. That time is coming to do what? To fold. And what? It is going to fold. There's going to be a World War III. This is already in the book. There's going to be a World War III. That's happening. Why? Because the United States can't sit there and allow a country to come up and take over. There's going to be the next kingdom after this is going to be God's kingdom. It cannot be another nation. They won't allow it. They won't allow it. We're going to read some things to you, though, before you go. We got to read some things to you before you go.
Brother, go ahead.
But go ahead. Say what you're about to say, and then we can jump into something else.
I was just going to back you up, and so you will say something in the spiritual, I'll say something in the secular. Yes. I'll tell you how this secular version of what you said spiritually is going to play out. There, in the coalition of the BRICS nations, is enough people to counterbalance the entire population and economic might of the West. What's going on is that China is building the Belt and Road Initiative all the way from where it's at to where Africa's at and back. And this is creating the kind of partnerships that create wealth. What's happening now is that because of Trump's tariff policy, they're seeking to create a new reserve currency.
Right.
When the reserve currency changes, they will most likely resort to force. When that happens, what I see taking place will be a replica of what happened in World War II. The reason why Africa was able to fight for liberation is the colonizers shot it out with each other and was out of ammo. France in rubble, Britain in rubble, Spain, Portugal in rubble. They was all in rubble.
Right.
And because Africa saw that they did not have the capability to actually create the boots on the ground necessary to stop the rise against colonization, they were able to do the first part of their freedom. It wasn't all the way over. Now the second part is a coming. And because of the fact that America, when the world reserve currency switches and Trump is accelerating this process, cannot stand another world reserve currency to be created. This is their whole money situation.
Exactly.
They will most likely go to war. And from that, likely will emerge a world order where we will see a developed, safe, peaceful, and military capable Africa.
Well, let me read something to you, and then I want to talk about France again real quick, because we got a problem with France personally, right? We're going to read an article to you. You're not going to believe this.
People in France?
Yeah,
oh, no.
You're not going to believe this. Yeah. They're terrible. But we're about to go into, I don't know if you ever heard of this. It's the book of the Apocrypha, which is the 14 books that were taken out of the Bible originally. Right. So we're going to read out of there. I'm going to read something to you real quick, right? Let me get 2nd Ezra chapter 13, all right? And start in verse 29. I'm going to read this to you.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 29. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth.
Right, go ahead.
And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth.
Right, so he's going to come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. Come on.
And one shall undertake to fight against another.
Now, this is it. One shall begin and undertake to fight against another. Go ahead.
One city against another.
One city against another.
One place against another.
Go ahead.
One people against another.
Go ahead.
And one realm against another.
Right. This is the beginnings of that World War III. This is when everybody's going to start to get it busy. This is what it's talking about. One city against another. One people against another. One realm against another. Come on.
And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the sign shall happen, which I showed thee before. And then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending.
Right. So when you read in the book of Acts, right, you see Christ ascending, right? He went back up into the cloud. It said that he went up into the cloud. Now, the cloud is a chariot, right? The chariot is what people call UFOs, or what they call them now, whatever the new terminology is. Yes, right. But in the scriptures, it talks about that, right? Literally, like it's really a chariot. It's really what they call a spaceship or UFO, so on and so forth, right? That's the force that's going to come. Now, this is what's getting ready to happen, bro. We showing you what's in the scriptures. Now, when this world,
we into UFOs now,
bro. Listen, we gotta tell it to you straight. That's why when you watch that movie Independence Day, right? Oh, and they show those aliens coming in. That ain't no aliens that's coming in, bro. That's Christ and the angels coming in. That's what they hiding from the people. When you look in the book of Ezekiel chapter 1, it taught that same way that ship came out of that cloud. If you remember that movie, check it out again. Independence Day. The first ship that you seen coming out of a cloud and the fire was enfolding in it and all of that. It's literally put in Ezekiel chapter 1. That's exactly what it is, right? Even in the time of Moses, when it was that cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, that was a chariot that was in front of them, showing them where to go and all of that. But that's a different subject, right? Not a different subject, but a little different point. But go ahead, read on, bro.
Verse 33. And when all the people hear his voice.
When all the people hear the voice of Christ, come on.
Every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another.
Right. So that World War III, remember, everybody's fighting each other. When those chariots come in and they hear the voice of Christ, they now going to turn all their attention and fight against Christ. That's what you saw in the movie Independence Day. Remember, everybody was fighting. As soon as those ships came in, all the world started fighting against the ships. Right? I don't know if you saw that movie with Will Smith.
No. It's just been a minute. That was, I believe, the 9/6. I was quite young when that came out. But
we're all pretty young. But the movie stuck with me because I know what it is. Yeah, this guy over here is laughing. He wasn't even born. This guy was. He was like 3 years old. He was ridiculous.
No,
but at the end of the day, I'm trying to. Is that it?
No, there's more, sir.
Yeah, we're just going to read the rest, and I'm going to let you get back to it.
Verse 34.
Go ahead.
And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them, willing to come, and to overcome him by fighting.
Right, and to overcome Christ and the angels by fighting. Because when they see those ships now, right, they're gonna be like, okay, these some ships, we're gonna have to fight them. I mean, that's what it is. That's what's programmed in the mind of Esau, right? The so-called white man. He's fighting everybody. He is a killing machine. When you read in the book, we're gonna get that for you a little bit later in the book of Genesis, which shows you that he is the man with the sword. Those that kill by the sword must be killed by the sword. Yeah, that's talking about me and you, but it's really talking about him, what he does. Right,
brother. You know, this is all new information for me, so I can't make.
I know.
One way or another.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I know, and
so
that's why we just
don't speak like I got any expertise on this.
No, absolutely.
All this right now.
No, we understand that, and that's why we're giving it to you, right? Because we know most people don't have this information. We're giving it to you, so if you ever look back on it, you're able to get time and take a look at it. You know, and this is what we teaching our people. We teach not just that, but we're teaching our people who they are, their nationality, and what is to come. That doesn't mean now that we just fold up and don't go to school and don't take care of ourselves and buy houses and do what we need to do. That's not what that means. But this is what's coming, right? This is what's coming, you know?
Right. Man, let me tell you something. I can say that I know that within my power, we are all doing what we're supposed to do, and we're charged to educate the people with what we got. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
You got this, I got this, and we just trying to do the best we can. But one thing that we all do know is that whether you Hebrew, whether you know what I'm saying, Christian, Muslim, atheist, when you are in a Shark Tank, your name is food. When you're in the presence of white supremacy, you got to figure out how to get out of there, and you got to look to your left and your right and link arms with your brothers and sisters and try to figure out what freedom, safety, peace, and survival look like.
That's right.
And that's what I'm here to do, to just try to build a bridge to you good brothers. I've seen the work that you've been doing in the community to create a strong presence of folks who's willing to stand on business for our folks.
That's right.
I see the Hebrews showing up in an activist way that I haven't seen be any time in my lifetime.
Absolutely.
I see the Hebrews standing up and, you know what I'm saying, taking on police brutality. I see them standing up, trying to get brothers, you know what I'm saying, out of that trap game and all of that.
Yep.
So when brothers and sisters are standing up, doing righteous things, I'm here to share with them. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And I know if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, my future going to take care of itself. And I just want to make sure that I'm in the company of good folks as I create that future.
Hey, absolutely.
And that's, you know what I'm saying? Because everything else, I got to get my read on. You know?
Yeah, you got. Hey, bro, that's why we make ourselves accessible to our family. You know, a brother like yourself, we look at you, we say, damn, okay, the brother is well read, eloquent, beautiful, disseminator of information, and so on and so forth. These are the brothers that we need to get to and speak to, and you know, we get to everybody in our community, even pastors of Christian churches, and we're not in Christianity, but we go sit down with them and tell them, brothers, listen, this is what we're doing. We ain't trying to fight you. We want you to just get on page.
I ain't here to scrap.
On code.
I ain't here to do none of that. I went through that phase where I was arguing with brothers.
And,
This ain't that time.
No.
So I'm walking in that demonstration of that truth. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to be mindful of my time because it's super late here because I'm 1 hour.
Oh, okay.
And I gotta, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No. I know.
I gotta pack up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
But
we appreciate you,
man.
We appreciate you, bro.
Man, listen. I just want to close with this. Study to show thyself approved, and part of the reason why I delve into news and secular things, geopolitics, is I'm trying to understand the world in a way that would make me competent to be effective in that world. That doesn't mean I am of that world.
100%.
But being in it means understanding the mechanics of that world and being somebody who can be relied upon to be, if time should call, somebody who can call some shots, be a leader, and be a good soldier if it's time for me to listen to somebody who's in authority. So if I got something to share, Hebrew, Hotep, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? We are who we are, and we're going to make these ends meet together as one. And I appreciate y'all having me on y'all's platform
100%.
Because this means that we are making these dots connect in a way that's going to make us powerful people, bro.
That's 100%. And, you know, we love that you came on the show and you were gracious with your time. We got to have you back at some point, man, because we only got a chance to speak about. Wait a minute, before you go, a couple of things, because and I know you got to leave. I'm sorry, but you said something about paying attention to geopolitics. That's a must, right? The Lord said, "Watch and pray." Meaning pay attention to everything that's going on. The scriptures also say be ignorant of nothing great or small. You have to pay attention to everything, right? And in the scriptures, it talks about wars and rumors of wars and things of that nature. So you have to be involved in what's happening politically. You have to see what's going on. Doesn't mean that you're part of the politics or anything, but you do have to pay attention, right? To see what is going on. And I wanted to show you something about what happened to us in France. Okay, this is something I have to show you. This is crazy. Hey, brothers, bring up that article, right? So we have congregations all over the earth, right? All over the world, in Africa, Europe, whatever the case may be. But in France, right? So this article was in their paper called Le Parisien, right? I don't have the French accent, so it don't sound as pretty. But it says anti-Semitism. Yo, read that, bro. You go ahead and read it.
Okay. Thank you. All right. This is marvelous facts. Anti-Semitism, homophobia, warlike speeches. What is Israel united in Christ? The association dissolved this Thursday.
Right. So they literally went in and through the court system, they shut down our church out there. Literally. Like this has not happened to any organization in France but us. They literally put this on the books and said that these guys cannot be out here at all. And we only had about maybe 30, 40 members out there. It wasn't even big. Like in America, we got all over the world, we got thousands and thousands. We don't even know our numbers.
Yeah, thousands and thousands. Yeah.
Right. But there we had just a few and they shut it down. But just go down to the article. I just want to read a little bit of it for you so you can see what the heck is going on. Can y'all scroll a little faster? Thank you. No. Come on. Where you going? Where you going?
You want the top,
just start at the top. Yeah, start at the top. Just want to read a little bit before our brother leaves.
Yo, gotta fix that. Fix the language.
What's happening? And they don't have it translated, but
it was just translated.
Oh, there you go. All right, just read that real quick.
All right. Suspected of advocating a warlike discourse of calling for.
Come on, brothers.
These guys are beautiful.
Thank you.
And look, it's back.
Suspected of advocating a warlike discourse of calling for hatred of other religions.
Oh my God.
Hey, get that out of there.
It's all good.
Yeah, get that out of here. Yeah. Let's. Hey, Theo, thank you for coming on, but we just wanted to let you know that's what's happening right now for us in France. All right. So they shut down.
Surprise me. Their history of anti-blackness is on par with none, brother. So I hope y'all brothers stay strong. 100%. And continue to reach out to people regardless of our folks, regardless of their ideology, because the time is coming where we understand that the power is going to shift and we need to be riding that wave to be where we need to be in this world.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you, man, for gracing us, bro. It's an excellent time, man. Sure. At some point, we would love to have you back, man. We didn't even get a chance to talk about, Israel and the Gaza and all that great stuff.
There's gonna be a lot more to talk about when I come back. A lot more will unfold, brothers.
For real. Thank you, man. All right. So hey, you stay safe out there, bro. All right.
Absolutely. Much love to y'all.
Yes, sir. All right. Shalom. Be safe.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Take care.
All right. Yes, sir. All right.
Yo.
All praises.
That's some good stuff there.
Yeah, that was excellent, man. We could have been talking to him all night.
All night long. All night long, man.
Sure.
Because it's one thing that they worried about more than any type of power that we gonna have, and that's waking up.
Right.
Our greatest power in this world is, and they know this, is when we come together and be one. Give me 1 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 10. This is what they fear right here.
1 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 10. Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that ye all speak the same thing.
They afraid of us speaking the same thing. This is why they shut us down in France, because we waking up all over the world. We showing the people who they is, and we all starting to think alike as the Israelites. Come on.
And that there be no divisions among you.
Once we get rid of their divisions, there ain't nothing they can do. Once we get rid of the vanity, the envy, the murder, it ain't nothing they gonna be able to do to us. Come on.
But that ye be perfectly joined together.
That's what they trying to stop, us coming together and being perfectly joined together. Because at the end of the day, we not about to the Lord ain't looking for us to come. He's not looking for a multitude of unprofitable children. He's looking for the ones that's gonna stand up in his name, the ones that's gonna do the work in his name and warn the people as he commanded. Come on.
In the same mind.
In the what?
In the same mind.
Meaning we think the same, we act the same, we look the same. Come on.
And in the same judgment.
And in the same judgment. We got to have the same mind, same judgment across the board for this to work. Mm-hmm. We can't have different ideologies coming into this. It's like the drug dealer and the crackhead coming together. The crackhead gonna steal everything.
You know, no, 100%.
Hey, you know what? You know why I like this brother, man. I like that. He's very smart. This guest that we had, you could tell he really like you see a lot of black brothers or Hispanic brothers. We talk about sports, like the way this brother talk about his even the conversation y'all was having. I couldn't really jump in because I'm not like a history buff. But everything that y'all was saying secular, I'm thinking of a scripture for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Scriptures is popping up in my head now. The scriptures talk about us groping at noonday.
Right.
You know, like the blind grope in darkness, meaning everything we find to do, you know what I'm saying, other than God's word, we're going to try it. And it's and it's going to fail. And it's a necessary thing because guess what? After it does fail, say, you see, the things you guys are just now finding out, God told us 3,000 years ago. He been told us the soul is not up. Let's get that in Habakkuk 2 real quick. Let's see what God been told us, because I want to say some or reference some things that my brother was saying that God been told us, and God tells us the end of it. We win, we win. The thing you're trying to achieve, we win. But how, you're still figuring out us as a people, right? So watch this. Habakkuk 2.
Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him.
So we were all this time trying to trade with him and make peace with him. What do you say? We didn't even have doors. The concept of the concept of murder and war, as far as we've been written about, those things have been introduced by them. You know? So guess what? God been told us over 3,000 years ago that the soul inside of these people is not right. Read on.
But the just shall live by faith.
Read on.
Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine. He is a proud man.
This is a prideful man. He think he above everybody. Read on.
Neither keepeth at home.
He don't stay in his own land. And now we can look secularly, historically, and see the things happening that God been told us about. Read.
Who enlargeth his desire as hell.
Everywhere he go, he destroys it. Read.
And is as death.
He's just as death. Read.
And cannot be satisfied.
He cannot be satisfied no matter how rich he is, how many diamonds he has, how much gold he has, how much oil he has. He cannot be satisfied. Read.
But gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people.
And we see in that present day. We see, and whoever's doing that, God's saying that soul and those people are not right. So we cannot make covenant. What Officer Shin put? What Psalm 55? You know, we cannot make covenant with these people. And we are as a people are just now finding that out, trying to be independent. Now the game plan is here. What are we supposed to do? He said, well, we need to become independent. Give me 2 Corinthians 6:17. Look at the game plan. It's been written. We just haven't been following. We groping at noonday trying to find other things. But God gave us the game plan on how to win it. Watch this.
2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 17. Wherefore, come out from among them and be ye separate.
We're supposed to be separate. Now we just finding that out. Now we want to kick France out. Now we want to, you know what I'm saying? But God been told us to do that.
But
we thought they was good people. We thought they was human. You know?
But that's the whole thing. Real quick. That's the whole thing. We were up under it's captivity at the end of the day, right? Mm-hmm. Our people get put into captivity and it just never ended. So now it's coming to that time when think about it, y'all. By the time we started teaching all of this, that's when all of this starting to happen.
Exactly.
This is being activated in the earth due to the fact that the word of God is going out.
Exactly.
Previous to us teaching this, what was going on?
Nothing.
You know, this is just the reality of it. We don't have to like create no story. This is not nothing fake I just said. This is just reality, right? Because the same way when we got shut down in France, right? Before that, who's getting shut down in France?
Nobody.
There's 1,000 religions all over. France is crazy as hell. They got all type of sexual madness, everything going on over there.
Yep.
And they turn to IUIC, the Israel United in Christ, and say, yo, get those 40 people up out of here. Like, think about this.
Damn, yeah.
Think about this. But go ahead. You was finishing up?
No, I was just making that point, just in that vein, that the things that our people as a whole, all around the world, on the continent of Africa, in the islands, in the states, or whatever, they are just finding out things that God been told us about.
No, 100%.
You know, so it's our job to continue to prophesy. So when we speak to guests like this, it's a good thing that they speak, because if you watch all the shows, they all speaking things in the Bible.
Right. And it's beautiful because they have an expertise in their area.
Yes.
And this is stuff we need to know.
Yes.
What the brother's bringing out, a lot of people never, ever heard before.
Or understood.
Exactly.
Understood.
This is mandatory learning. That's stuff that we all supposed to know.
For sure.
You know, and that's what's great about what he's bringing to the table. Lord's will, we get him back on here because we got a lot to discuss. Like, these are great topics. But going back to that article, and this is but now we about to strangle these guys, right? We got to strangle the broadcast team, the IT department, man. These guys are crazy as hell. Yo, 2 hours before the show, I said, make sure that article is translated and ready to go. Oh, no, it's good. Trust me. And it comes up and they crazy as hell. Did y'all get that fixed? And it probably the answer is no.
They looking at each other.
Yeah, look.
They're like, did you do it yet?
Yeah.
Did you do it yet? No, did you?
They crazy as hell, bro.
Man.
You can't make it up. I mean, I literally from early this afternoon, I was like, yo, make sure that's done. Oh, no problem. We'll take care of it right before the show. I was like, during the show? You can't make it up. Look. Oh, what? Now it's good? It's just a piece of the article. They crazy. Yo, they sick as hell. Hey, that's a shame. You can't make it up. Why is it so difficult? Now we're going off on a tangent. Now I'm getting upset.
Don't get it. Watch this. Give me Psalms 106.
Yeah, I was
that.
just about to
I'm
say.
about to bring
give me
something
34 real quick while they working on
Can't
that.
make it up, bro.
Let me show you some more game plan.
Can't make it up.
And why since we didn't know that these people was a deaf adder. We didn't know that they soul wasn't upright in them. And look at the instruction God gave us. Watch this.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 106, verse 34. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them.
God commanded us to destroy certain nations, and we chose not to do that, thinking that they were good people, thinking that they were normal people, thinking they had souls and conscience, right? Read on.
But were mingled among the heathen.
Instead of destroying them, we mingled among them.
Yep.
We start to serve their gods. We start to marry their women. We
Right.
start to integrate. Read.
And learned their works. And they served their idols, which were a snare unto them.
That was the trap unto us right there. That's how this is the beginning of our fall. Idolatry. Something simple as that.
Yep.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me. We break
Right.
that by mingling.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, y'all got that fixed? These guys are crazy.
And the crazy thing about it is that we're going to continue to fall into this big trap as long as we're trying to stay unified with these people.
Right.
It was
Yeah, no,
never
can't
meant
happen.
for us to be unified with these people. Y'all got it, man, or what?
Hey, bring that article up, man. You guys are annoying. Go ahead.
All right, go.
You want me to start back at that paragraph we were going to read?
Yeah, start back at that
scroll
paragraph.
down.
Okay.
Scroll down.
Go down.
Okay, right there.
All right, there you go.
All right. Suspected of advocating a warlike discourse, of calling for hatred of other religions. The dissolution was published this Thursday morning in the official journal. The French branch of IUIC, for Israel United in Christ, an association registered in Staines, Saint-Denis,
Bruh.
since June 2nd, 2019, has been dissolved by decree.
Right, by decree, meaning the court system, right? That they actually shut down IUIC as an organization. That's what it's saying. Go ahead.
According to the latter, this branch of the American IUIC, which says it teaches biblical scriptures, organizes events and ceremonies, promotes a message that Black, Hispanic, and Native American populations are the true Israelites.
We are the true Israelites.
Ostracizing other populations by calling them enemies.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, the Israelites are the so-called blacks, the so-called Hispanics, the so-called Native American Indians. That's just the truth, right? In regards to them being called enemies, the Lord calls them enemies.
Yeah, and they
He calls
showed themselves to be enemies by what they did.
Exactly.
Because it's like we was bringing out earlier, it's so many different religions out there that you could have picked on, that you could have shut down.
Right.
But you chose to shut down God's organization.
Right.
So you showed yourself an enemy.
Exactly. Go ahead. Scroll
Yo,
up.
It's blocked off right here, yo.
Why? All right, leave that alone.
Oh, you want me to start where it says a YouTube? Or
Why is this so difficult? All right, go ahead, read.
okay.
According to the text.
According to the text, through her actions on the public highway, her preaching or her publications, she provokes violent acts and propagates ideas tending to justify encouraging hatred, violence, and discrimination against women.
All right, stop. Nobody is propagating violence. That never happened in life.
See?
There's no way that you ever see any of our teachings saying to commit violence against anyone.
Hey,
except for the IT team. That's the only time. That's the only people we do.
Hey,
That's the only
before
people
we
want to
even
beat up.
start, the first things we say is that we don't advocate no violence.
Yeah, that we
are not
literally
a hate
start
group.
off. Right. We're not a hate group and we don't advocate violence against anyone. Like we literally set off all teachings with that.
Yes.
Go ahead, read on.
Hatred, violence, and discrimination against women,
Come on.
homosexuals, followers of other religions, and people who are not Black.
Right.
Lies,
So
lies,
so
lies.
right. So when you say women and homosexuals, that's like buzzwords, right? To make people start to react. Women, oh, you're against women? That's stupid. How we gonna be against women? That don't make any sense. Against homosexuals, we're against homosexuals because they're committing an act that's against the laws of God.
Right.
Right. So we tell them, listen, stop committing them acts, change, and get out of that garbage. We're not telling them to go kill themselves.
Right. Hey,
We don't do that.
we against adultery too.
Exactly.
You know, we against theft. We
Right.
against
Yeah.
murder.
They don't
Yep,
put
we're
none of that
against-
up there.
Yeah, why they didn't put that there?
They don't
Yeah.
put none of that there.
No, because if they say they're against theft, meaning that we're against them. Because they've been stealing everything in Africa the whole damn time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They robbing everything. They took over all them countries. They got them underneath the so-called franc and the euro and robbing everybody. And now we're the bad guys because we're reading out of the Bible. You can't make it up. These people are the most wicked on planet Earth. I'm telling you right now. Small little nation like France, and they whizzy poo 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 shoo poo and shoo shoo poo poo and poo 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 and poo with perfume and croissants, and y'all think that they smooth. These are some demons over there, y'all. I'm telling you, straight demons. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Only
Which
thing
I-
we hurting is feelings, man.
We
We read the Bible and feelings is getting hurt.
Feelings is getting totally destroyed.
Yeah, these are God's. These are God's thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, and what's wrong with bringing the truth shall make you free. So when we come out with the truth, it's gonna make some people feel good, and it's gonna hurt others.
Right.
You know, one man's good news, another man's bad news, and it just so happens to be that according to prophecy, we are the children of God.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah, get that. And
Anything-
I'm sorry, Wisdom of Solomon 18. Go ahead. Say what you wanna say.
Anything that don't have nothing to do with the Edomites is hate. Period. Point blank.
100%.
That's what they call hate. They say, are we involved? No, it's hatred.
Right. Wait a minute. We can't be part of this? What about us? Are we not Israelites? No.
Bro, it's
Now
been
beat it.
like that when we tried to build up the wall.
Exactly.
And we tried to rebuild back Jerusalem. They
Right.
did the same stuff. They started lying and propaganda and putting all
The
type
whole
of
thing.
BS out, and they called it hatred. Same thing.
Yeah. And we're going to get into that. But read this.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18, verse 7.
Yup.
So of thy people was accepted both the salvation of the righteous.
Right. The salvation of the righteous. Those of us who doing what? Keeping the commandments of God and the faith of Christ. Right? Go ahead.
And destruction of the enemies.
Right. When they said that we called them the enemies, yeah, you getting destroyed. So what?
Yeah.
Come on. So what? Yeah, you had us in slavery for a long time. You destroyed our people. You had us in the zoo. That's a fact.
Yeah.
You're getting destroyed by the Lord. That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's it.
And they don't call none of that hatred.
No.
They don't pull none of that stuff up
No.
and say this is all of the hatred that we had
No.
unto you blacks and Hispanics.
No.
Yeah. And eventually they're going to have to ban the Bible because that's all we reading.
Oh, but that's happening. That's coming.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
for
coming.
Sure.
You know, and these people, man. Hey, listen. The war is coming. Everything is setting itself up slowly but surely.
Mm-hmm.
Slowly but surely. We don't have nothing to do. All we doing is teaching.
Right.
All we doing is activating the angels, and they know this. That's why they mad. If they really thought that what we was teaching was fake, would they really shut down the school?
No.
Think about it. And that's for all the brothers and sisters out there who might be seeing us for the first time and things like that. It might be like, man, these guys are a little bit too much. Like they're talking about UFOs and they're talking about this and that. Listen, y'all just use y'all good senses. Would they shut down an organization with only 40 members in it, 30 to 40 members in it, if they thought that what we were teaching was foolishness?
Right.
No.
Explanation, please.
They know it's real. And they know the power of the scriptures because they see it going on all over the world, right? Yep. We got schools popping up all over the world. People is coming back. They waking up and they realizing, wait a minute, I'm an Israelite. And we want to say this again to the brothers and sisters who know y'all in the truth already and stuff. This is not for you. This is for the people who are watching us for the first time, or y'all might just be looking at us and trying to figure things out. Listen. I forgot my thought. Bruh. But at the end of the day, when these scriptures are coming out, y'all, right? The angels are being activated to do the things that are in the Bible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If we weren't teaching, nothing would be happening.
Right.
Right? And the people see this power. They see this power coming out. That's why you're in France and you're thinking to yourself, can you imagine up in the top was he brought him up, Macron?
Yeah.
Right? Imagine. You're over France. He knows about this. You think he don't know what happened?
Yeah.
All this little stuff come up to him. Oh, yeah, shut them down. Oh, yeah, we had to shut them down. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. They have to do that. And what? That's setting it up for America to be able to shut us down. Right? At some point, that's probably going to happen. But right now, America's so big on free speech and all the other garbage that they have to let us rock.
Yeah.
Why? Because the Lord is allowing us to rock. When that time comes where it's time for us to get killed and all of that, then y'all going to be seeing us getting murdered.
Right.
And then you're going to say, damn, what happened? Oh, yeah, the Lord said it's time. That's when you know when all these things are going to come to pass, y'all. This third world war that we brought up, all of that is going to happen. There's some stuff in Second Ezra that I wanted to read. We probably could get to it a little bit. You know, y'all bring something out if y'all need to bring something out.
Yeah, man. They had to shut us down because France is seeing God's army being formed, bro.
Right.
They watching it happen. Give me Ezekiel chapter 37 and verse 10.
Yeah.
They watching this thing being performed, bro, and they shaking in their boots.
That's right. Because when those 30 people that they see in France, when they looking at them 30 people, they really seeing all the people that was walking down in Oakland.
Yes.
That's what they really seeing.
That's what and they watching all of that, man.
Oh,
seeing
100%.
That's going on.
100%.
They seeing us all over the world preaching the gospel. Scriptures say the gospel should reach all four corners of the earth before the end come.
That's right.
That's why you seeing all of these all of this stuff ain't popping off for no reason. The gospel is being spread. Read that.
What verse?
37 and 10, man.
Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 10. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived and stood up upon their feet.
Come on.
An exceeding great army.
France is watching this great army being put together, and they trying to shut it down, but there ain't nothing you can do about it because this word is going to happen. The word is going to keep pushing. The word of God, you can't stop, bro. We going to rise up whether you like it or not. One more, Revelation 11:11.
Yeah. Come on. You ain't getting away from that. That's just the reality. The Lord said, I'm going to set them in order before your eyes. That's it. It's happening right now.
It's happening right now in real time.
Oh, yeah.
Read that, man.
Revelation chapter 11 verse 11. And after 3 days and a half,
350 years.
The spirit of life from God entered into them.
They're watching the spirit of God enter into us right now. Come on.
And they stood up and they stood upon their feet. And great fear fell upon them which saw them.
You see that? And great fear is coming up upon these other nations that's watching us rise up because they spent so much money to keep us deaf, dumb, and blind. They use every resource that they have to make us niggas, to make us, to make our women the bad bees, to make us video vixens and drug dealers and gangbangers. They spent a lot of resources on that. Now they seeing the children of God standing up and great fear is falling upon them.
Oh, yeah,
they watching that exceedingly great army grow year in and year out, and fear is falling upon them.
Yep. We're going to get there right. Hey, give me Second Ezra. Second Ezra 15. We're gonna deal with that great fear right now. Give me 15 and start in 37.
Yes.
Second Ezra chapter 15 verse 37. And there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon earth.
Come on.
And they that see the wrath shall be afraid.
Right, because all the missiles gonna be hitting, things gonna be blowing up, destroyed all over the place. Go ahead, read.
And trembling shall come upon them.
Come on.
And then shall there come great storms from
Great
the
storms,
south.
right? Great forces, right? Different armies and all of that, right? From what?
From the south.
Right, the south. That's talking about what? The Arabs. Go ahead.
And from the north.
That's talking about Europe. Go ahead.
And another part from the west.
Right, that's the U.S. Go ahead.
And strong winds shall arise from the east, and shall open it, and the cloud which he raised up in wrath, and the star stirred to cause fear toward the east.
Right, that the east is talking about China. All right, and all that. Go ahead.
And west wind shall be destroyed.
And the west wind shall be destroyed. Go ahead.
The great and mighty cloud shall be lifted up.
Right, the great and mighty clouds. That's going into NATO. We was talking about that earlier. Right, the great and mighty clouds, NATO shall be lifted up. Go ahead.
Full of wrath, and the star that they may make all the earth afraid.
That star is that weapon, that nuclear weapon, that they should make the whole earth afraid. Go ahead.
And them that dwell therein, and they shall pour out over every high and eminent place and horrible star.
Right, a horrible star. Over every eminent place, the missiles is coming down. You can't make it. Yo, this Bible is crazy right now.
Man.
Read on.
Fire and hail and flying swords.
And flying swords. When you hear about these flying swords, these stars, that's talking about missiles, y'all.
Right.
Weapons of mass destruction for real. Go ahead.
And many waters, that all fields may be full, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters. And they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of the wood, and grass of the meadows, and their corn.
Yup, and give it to us right here, 43.
And they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon.
That's the United States. Go ahead.
And make her afraid.
And make her afraid.
Yep.
That's what we're talking about. Trembling. They're going to be afraid. Why? Because that's the return of Christ. The Israelites rising up. All of that is happening at the same time. We're getting closer and closer to it, y'all. Closer and closer to it. That's why the scriptures in Peter's have said, what we got to keep. Hey, let's get it, man. 'Cause I'm about to chop it up.
Get it up.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Bring it out.
Yes, sir.
Our conversation should be, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, Second Peter.
No, 1 Peter 2.
I'm sorry.
1 Peter 2. Just go.
I think it's Second Peter.
No, it's not. It's 1 Peter. 1 Peter 2 and hit starting 10. No, starting 11.
Okay. Second Peter chapter 2.
First Peter.
1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 11. Dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain
Wait a minute. You might be right. You might be right, bro. 2 Peter's 3, right?
3 and 11.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Yep, that's what I want.
2 Peter chapter 3 verse 11.
Go ahead.
Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved.
Yup.
What manner of persons ought ye to be?
Right. Seeing that all these things shall be dissolved. What we just read, all them horrible stars hitting every eminent place, right? Go ahead.
In all holy conversation and godliness.
Right. We got to be in what? Hold on. Read that again.
Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be?
Right.
In all holy conversation and godliness.
Right. Go ahead. Read on.
Looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved.
Come on.
And the elements shall melt with fervent heat.
Right. Knowing that all these things is going to happen, our conversations need to be according to that. Meaning what? Keeping the laws and the faith of Christ. Right. Really doing this, being righteous, because we know what's going to happen. All right. Go ahead. Read on.
Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens.
We looking forward to it. That's what the scriptures are saying. We looking forward to it. For new heavens. Go ahead.
And a new earth.
And a new earth. Because everything is going to take place. We're going to be ruling right here. Go ahead.
Wherein dwelleth righteousness.
Wherein dwelleth righteousness. All right. Go ahead. What y'all got?
Man, I got nothing.
Yo, come on. Come on.
I like The end. I like the end of the story. I like Isaiah 60.
Oh yeah,
Let's get
that's
the
some
end
good
of the
stuff.
story.
Yeah,
you
man.
know?
Hey, we
Isaiah 60 and 11.
Isaiah chapter 60, verse 11.
Start at 10. I like all this. Watch this.
Verse 10. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee.
Minister means serve, meaning they kings gonna serve us. They kings gonna serve us. They Donald Trumps and they Elon Musk gonna serve our Tyrones and Shaniquas. they gonna serve us,
man,
right?
Tyrone and Shanika better get their name changed before that.
Oh yeah,
I was thinking
come
that
on, the last name.
Yeah. Shaniqua Bot Israel.
Read on.
For in my wrath I smote thee.
Yeah, the guy when he was angry at us, he gave us a nice whooping for a while, right? Read on.
But in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
But at the end of the day, we still his chosen people. He gonna have mercy on us. Read.
Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night.
Read on.
That men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles.
The forces of the Gentiles is all the gold, all the diamonds, all the wealth, everything that they stole. They're gonna be bringing it right back to us. Right. Read on.
And that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted.
And I was thinking about this because the brother said something heavy. He said, we going to this place to get where we need to be. We as a people don't understand where we need to be. We think we need to be ruling and peaceful among everybody, everybody in world harmony. But look at verse 14.
Verse 14. The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee.
Superior, rulership,
Right.
dominance, rod of iron, no playing, no games. Read.
That's the only thing
And
that can
all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet.
France gonna bow themselves at the soles of our feet. Germany, Europe, everybody that put their hands on us gonna have to bow themselves down to us. Read.
Yep.
And they shall call thee the city of the Lord, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel.
They gonna put some respect on our name.
Right.
They gonna put some respect on. I love reading the end. You know what I'm saying?
You know why? Because we can't have co-rulership.
No.
It can't happen. And that's why Esau is doing what they're doing. They don't allow nobody to rule with them because it can't work. That's why when they made everybody in the democracy all one people, everybody had to become one, but underneath their umbrella.
Yeah,
right.
Underneath their rule.
Right. They weren't sharing cultures like, oh yeah, they let a little bit of that go on, but for the most part, you had to be up under them. Right. Check this out. Go to Revelation 12. Because the brother, remember, he said something. We never got a chance to deal with it when he said the deception.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Hell yeah.
Because that was one of the strongest things he talked about their military power and their deception.
Yep.
And that's literally what the Lord gave them. Right? Give me y'all Revelation 12 and let's start in 7.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 7. And there was war in heaven.
Right. The heaven here is talking about what? The rulership of Esau. There was a war in heaven. Go ahead.
Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels.
Come on.
And prevailed not. Neither was their place found anymore in heaven.
Right. That dragon is talking about Esau. Right. And his angels, meaning all his allies, was fighting against what? Michael and the invasion of the Lord. Right. The Lord said, I will invade them with my troops. That's who he getting ready to fight. That's who the dragon is fighting, and his angels is fighting against what? That troop. Read on.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan.
Right. Go ahead.
Which deceiveth the whole world.
Which deceiveth the whole world. That was that deception. Not only was it spiritual Satan, but it was the white man. He was doing all the deception. That's why he lied to the Native Americans and broke every treaty. Right. That's why he's over there in Africa telling them one thing and doing another. He does that all over the earth. Destroyed every nation, every place where he go, he destroys. Right? Because what? He got that deception. Go ahead.
He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
Meaning he got put to damn death. That's what it's talking about. Them armies and all that's going to get put to death. But there's going to be a good amount of them saved because they got to get put into captivity. They got to work for 1,000 years to build up
them walls.
Yeah, to build up them walls. And if y'all remember correctly, them walls are going to be 1,500 miles.
They put that harness on.
Yeah.
No harness.
Yeah. Remember our brother Theo was talking about the technology. Oh, we're going to give them incredible technology for them to build.
Yes.
And it's going to take them some incredible technology for them to build what we need to get built.
Yeah.
We're gonna supply them with everything they need.
It's gonna take 1,000 years to do.
Yeah, it's gonna take 1,000 years to build up our world, and then we're gonna put them to death.
And it's over.
Yeah, that's just what's happening. All praise to the Lord, man. Hey, listen, I know it's rough. People listening to it first time be like, "Oh, that's why y'all got banned in France. Y'all talking crazy." But listen, at the end of the day, we talking the Bible.
That's it.
And a lot of y'all been in church for 1,000 years and never read that or never understood it. I remember one brother I met one time. He was in the church and he started saying that he stopped believing in the Bible because it's talking about dragons and this and that. I said, brother, it's not talking about no dragon from damn Dragon Ball Z or you know what I mean, or some TV show or whatever. That ain't this dragon. This is talking about a person. This is talking about a people.
A people.
Right. What was that scripture that Bishop brought out on the Sabbath? It might have been in Ezekiel. He said he's going to put an end to all nations. You remember where that's at? The Lord said, I'm going to put an end to all nations, but I'm not going to put an end to y'all. What?
Yeah, that's it.
Jeremiah 30. There you go. Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 11.
Come on.
For I am with thee, saith the Lord, to save thee.
Right. I am with thee, saith the Lord, to save thee. Hey, put that scripture on the screen, bro. Everybody need to write this down and precept this in your book. Highlight this. This scripture is crazy right here. Why y'all taking so long to put the scripture on? What the hell is going on with these guys, man?
Hey, half of our show is about IT.
Yeah.
All the time.
But we're going to beat the hell out of IT. They're going to say, that's the violence we wanted to keep the IT safe in France. Read that.
Jeremiah chapter 30 verse 11.
Come on.
For I am with thee, saith the Lord.
Come on.
To save thee. Though I make a full end of all nations.
Though I make a full end of all nations. Go ahead.
Whither I have scattered thee.
Right. Whoa. Whither I have scattered thee. Guess where we were scattered? Into all nations.
Yep.
All our people are scattered in all nations in slavery. That's why you Christians and keep bringing up Matthew 28 or 29:18, 29 and 18, right? About, go and preach to all nations. Yes, because our people have been scattered in all nations. That's why the Lord said, I'm going to destroy and put an end to all the nations that y'all been in slavery to. That's what that's talking about. Read on.
Yet will I not make a full end of thee.
Right. I'm not going to make a full end of you, though, Israel. 2/3 of y'all, I'm putting y'all to death because y'all wicked as hell. But that 1/3 that's keeping my commandments in the faith of Christ, those of you I'm going to save. So our people who are Israel, we're not telling you, oh, yeah, you were Israelite, so now you good to go. You an Israelite, you have a shot. That's what I can tell you. You have a shot. So you got to start keeping them commandments in the faith of Christ. You know what I'm saying? And like the scriptures say, we scarcely saved. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's the basics on what we can do just to make it. Go ahead, y'all.
Man, 2/3 ain't got a snowball's chance in hell.
Damn.
I'm telling you, y'all better get it together.
But all praise to the Lord.
Say something, man. Say something.
I like.
Go ahead.
Daniel
Like,
8,
man,
Daniel
what you
8 and 24. Brute force and what was the other one? Deception. Brute force and deception. Something we just now finding out. God been told us about.
Right.
Watch this.
Daniel chapter 8 verse 24. And his power shall be mighty.
His power shall be mighty. Brute force. Read.
But not by his own power.
It's not like he's more special than us. He's not more naturally gifted than us.
Right.
Hey, guess what? God gave the power to the devil to give to them. Read.
Right.
And he shall destroy wonderfully. And shall prosper.
What time?
And practice.
Yep.
And shall destroy the mighty and the holy people.
Haven't we been destroyed? We've been destroyed so much that we don't even know that we the majority anymore.
Yep.
We separated, so on and so forth, and they got the power at this point. Read.
Right.
And through his policy also He shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
Craft, that's sneaky, underhanded.
Right.
Little meetings that we don't know about. Tactical, read.
But hold on. Let's hang out in there for a minute.
Yeah.
It said, we got to hang out there. Yeah, because it said the policy, bro. It said, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper. It said, that's them laws, all of that IMF that Theo was bringing out, right?
Yep.
About the International Monetary Fund, when they give
That's
you
heavy.
$100 billion, knowing you can't pay it back, then
Right.
they say, oh, I guess we're just gonna have to take over your country. That's the might. And causing craft to prosper, like you said, that sneaky, underhanded foolishness. But go ahead, bro.
Yep, that's like they was talking about the dollar that they give them, the franc,
Right.
and how it's how they under that, and their money is worth so on and so forth.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. Read on.
And he shall magnify himself in his heart.
He gonna be a very prideful people. They think that they are top notch. Nobody can take them down. Read.
And by peace shall destroy many.
Oh, there it is.
Deception, brute
Right.
There it
force,
is.
deception.
Yes, sir.
By they
That's Psalms
by they say
55.
that they give you peace, they gonna destroy a lot of people. Read.
He shall also stand up against the prince of princes. But he shall be broken without
He
hand.
shall be broken. Shall be broken. Right. So guess what? We know the end result. We watching it play out. So when we allow people from other walks to come speak, the best thing we could do is let us speak and say, look where God said it at. Boom. We said the same thing you just now figuring out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when you start to see more prophecies unfold, you see that some of us going to jail. Look, when people see our schools being shut down in France, so on and so forth, that's going to help people wake up.
Oh, yeah.
People got
100%.
common sense.
Of course, that's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point. They're going to say, wait a minute, there got to be something to it.
Yeah.
Why would you be shutting down a school? Like,
Right.
what are they saying so much that you a whole government, the country of France, bro, is saying, not only are they saying they shutting us down, but they saying if you come back and have a different name other than Israel United in Christ and do what you're doing, we throwing you in jail for 3 years.
Damn, that's like a gun charge.
Right. 3 years, $45,000 fine. It's real, y'all. It's real. And I know all of our shows have done at least something on this, but it's good that we had an opportunity to speak the geopolitical talk with our brother Theo Wilson, right? And why? Because now it's more prevalent. It's relatable to what's happening even with Burkina Faso,
Right.
and France, and they whole get down.
Yeah.
That's what we gonna call it. They whole get down. Their whole way of life. That's how they've been since their inception. They're demons, right? But real quick, let's go before we close up. Let's go to Genesis 27, right? Because we talked about that they got that sword. Sometimes we got to go back to the basics, man. Esau got that sword. They are the most, when it comes to this warfare, they are the most powerful. This is their thing. You know what I want?
Yes, sir. Genesis chapter 27, verse 39.
Go ahead.
And Isaac his father answered and said unto him,
The him is Esau. Go ahead.
Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth,
Meaning you're going to have the best places on the earth. Go ahead.
and of the dew of heaven from above.
Uh-huh.
And by thy sword shalt thou live.
You see that? He told him, you going to live by the sword. There's no other people on earth that live more by the sword than Esau, the so-called white man.
Right.
This man goes to every country, conquering it and living, gets the best land. What? How you going to say that Esau is not the white man when you read something like this? There's no way you can get around that. So people could get mad and kick and scream or whatever. But when you really consider it and you look and you say, damn, who else could that be? That's him. And this is where the Lord gave him that power with a sword. All right. So when y'all seeing him conquer all over the earth, don't think, oh man, Esau, man, he's just a great. No, that's his gift. That's his gift. And another one of his gifts is he's dealing with Satan. If you want to call that a gift, literally dealing with Satan. All right, that's another story. I guess we're gonna have to come back on that another time. You know,
You remember when Theo said that they couldn't fight the Africans hand to hand? We was
Right.
holding them off, right?
Right.
A sword is a weapon. He said the only way they prospered is when that Gatling gun came in.
exactly.
That sword.
Exactly.
that's their gift right there, man.
Yep, they had to take it
Upgraded
to another
version
level.
of the sword.
That's
Yeah.
right. Had
They
to take it
throwing
to another
swords
level.
at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They took
Now
it to
they
another
swords
level.
is flying over you. It's
Yep.
a kid behind there with a remote control dropping a bomb on people with their
For real.
swords.
For real.
Yeah, them drones ain't no joke.
Man.
Yeah, it ain't.
But all praises, all praises. Yo, it was an excellent show, man.
Definitely.
I wish we could have stayed on with him the whole time because it was
Yeah, I was learning a lot from that.
Yeah, we would have been going on for hours.
Might get lower and lower.
Huh? Yeah, the mic. You know how they are. They act like we in a club and they turning the lights down low. We got to get the hell out of here.
Let's go.
Going on,
Yeah, these guys are wild, man. There's gonna be violence after this show, brothers and sisters.
man, for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
And
lot
it's
of
gonna
violence.
start with the outro.
Brute force.
Yeah, it's gonna start with the brute force.
Start with the outro.
And there's gonna be
bro.
no deception ever.
Right.
We're gonna tell you
Straight
exactly what we're gonna do to you.
Yeah.
You know, but hey, y'all, let's put up the thumbnail for next week's show because next week's show is gonna be it's gonna be heavy as well, y'all. It's gonna be heavy as well. All right, so this one is called "Dreamers in a Nightmare: The Plight of Immigrant Children." Right, and our guest is gonna be Claudia Mendoza Diaz. Right, and so if y'all know anything about the Dreamers, it's the children of, we're going to say, quote unquote, the immigrants coming out of South America, right? Mexico, El Salvador, so on and so forth. When they come and they have children here, right? Those kids are known as the dreamers, right? Meaning what? They're going after the American dream because their family came here. But what happens is what? A lot of times the parents are deported, right? They're trying to deport the parents, and then sometimes they taking the children and deporting them, or they're keeping them and then deporting the parents. It's a bunch of madness, but we're gonna get into it next week and discuss our brothers and sisters going through this nightmare that they call the American dream. You know, so it's gonna be a great show, y'all. Y'all want to definitely tune in. Hey, what else? We gotta make our announcements before we go, man. Throw some stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot. Here we go. Donate to the Booster Club. It's been like 4 weeks. I forgot that we got to tell people to donate, right? Hey, help us. We all over the world teaching, bringing our people back to repentance, bringing the remembrance of themselves back, all right? And this is the Isaiah 11:11 project, all right, y'all? And every dollar y'all give, that helps us. We're able to stay in the hotels, take the flights, do what we need to do, eat, right? It's not cheap to do all of this work, right? So y'all do y'all part, donate as much as you can, all right, and help us. All right, all praise to the Lord. All right, and also don't forget to throw a few coins in there for us, IUIC Sacramento. All right, so this is IUIC.norcal@israelunite.org. All right, and what that's going to do is support the show. All right, get us a little bit more fancier lights or something. I don't know, get us some dinner at the end of the show or something. I don't know. Yo, y'all help us out, man.
Man, for real.
Get some bells and whistles popping.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You got to
right.
support us, man. We got to lay hands on you.
Yeah, help us with. Yeah. Y'all crazy.
Help us hire a new IT team.
Yo, that's bad.
Yo.
Oh, man. They want to raise. All right. What else we got? That's it, y'all?
They on strike.
They on strike, man. They about to get strikes.
Oh, yeah.
We about to strike them later.
Mini strike.
Yeah. All right. Well, all praises, y'all. So, hey, with that, we're going to say Shalom, Most High in Christ. Bless y'all. Officer Shem, take us out, bro.
Oh, yeah. You already know what time it is. I hope he got the scripture. If not, we got to punch him up, too.
Oh,
Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 21.
Oh, there you go.
Then I testified against them and said unto them, why lodge ye about the wall? If ye do so again, I will lay hands on you.
If you do it again, we got to lay hands on you. Y'all keep on putting up this crap to counsel against us. We got to lay hands on you. If you don't donate right here to the Booster Club, we got to lay hands on you. And IT, don't go nowhere, brother. We got to lay hands on you. Hey, this is tuned into the show. This is the Nehemiah Squad. We are your hosts. I'm Officer Shem. That's Captain Zaccai. That's Officer Judah. We out.
We out of here. Most High in Christ bless y'all. Shalom.
Most High in Christ bless.
Even the East, spend holy days away from the heathen. I need a break. I don't need a reason. I need a script. I don't need your grievance. Keep it to yourself. It's better for my health. Leave it on the shelf. Ain't hearing nothing else. Tonight and tonight, knowing the price. Pay it off with my life. Till it's out with your lights. Do it all for the Christ. And he ain't playing nice. Knew the end from the start. Fix your face like it's art. The sons of a simp, call him Bart. Yeah, you did your best, played your part. But now it's time to cut you to the heart. Flex on occasion. It's the strangeness of the salvation. You see it, believe it, amazing. Them chariots coming invasion since the creation. War, mine, Lord, bless the general. Greatest nation, Edom unequivocal. Bombs dropping, buddy, cause it's biblical. Start shit, now it's time to finish. Whoa. Said he won't vote, he looking for smoke. So, we give him some more. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world.
I can't wait for our kingdom to start and for there to be finished. Get rid of all of their idols and lying religions. Look for the crown like an Edris. Hey, this that crown talk. Wisdom of Solomon 5 talk. This that second Edris 6 and 9. We want eyes talk. It's your time to end. And my time again. It's our time to win. Away with the sin. You know what it is. Rejoice with my kin. See that is why we repented. Go to streets, I can see myself in it. The city is bright, the kingdom of light. A wonderful sight past the angels, the inner light. I need 1,000 years of labor. Sit on my throne with my savior. Try to know wine, press alone. He bring pain like major. You think the nations is equal to us? TK Kirkland, who raised you? Flex on occasion, my God a racist. That's why we moving with patience. It's been a long time coming. I spent my whole life running. Now that I'm 10 toes down and established my faith on 100. Woe to the nations, my king will race them. You know they gotta be punished. Jeremiah 25. Yeah, you know they gon' fry.
Whoa! Said he won't vote, we looking for smoke. So, we give him some more. We want the world, we breaking them down.